Hello, welcome to the channel and welcome back if you're a returning visitor. Today's video is basically going to be in three parts. It's about how and why I started this, I think they call it motovlogging. And why I've done it on a budget. The initial thought was I enjoy motorcycling as a channel. The channel is basically a motorcycling channel. And to share that experience with other people by starting a YouTube channel. I had watched other people like Stuart Fillingham and Freddie Dobbs and Del Boy's Garage and On the Road Adventure, various other channels. And I thought I'd like to do that, just give it a try. But I thought, well, some of the equipment they use, and they do make money from the channel, from their channels, which is fair enough, are quite expensive. Now, the go-to cameras, if you like, action cameras, are the GoPros, which are quite expensive. I mean, the basic, I think they're on Hero 11, Hero 10, Hero 11, whatever it is now. They're £300, at least £300. And that's for that you get the camera, a battery, or maybe two batteries, a charging lead, and that's about it. So then you've got the choice of DJI, which do a lot of action camera type equipment. They're a little bit cheaper, and you get a little bit more with them. But I thought that's still a big outlay, especially with the cameras. Especially, I tend to mount them in some fairly precarious positions, if you like, on the Bonneville. And if you lose one, or it comes adrift, or a stone hits it or something, that's at least 300 quid down the road, or damaged or broken completely. So I started to look around, and in the end I found these. They're the Wolfang cameras. I've got a few now. I'll go through them in more detail in a moment. But basically with the Wolfang, I mean, that one was my first one. That's the G100. That's their basic one. Not only do you get the camera, you get a waterproof casing as well. You get another bracket or another casing to hold it without the casing. You get the camera, you get a couple of batteries, and with the one camera you got a charger, so you could charge the batteries separately. You get a remote control, so you can either the red button is for taking pictures. You can put that on a wrist strap, by the way. The red one is for you can take a photograph. The right one is to start and stop the video recording. You get various mounts, clamps, and these, by the way, they're all compatible with the GoPro system. They're the basic fork system. You get thumb screws. You get that one for your motorcycle handlebars or whatever. So what I'm saying is, you get that one which clips into another thing that you can clip onto your rucksack strap if you want to. So basically, if you buy, or me personally, I'm not, by the way, I must get this out of the way, I am not sponsored in any way by Wolfang. Chance will be a fine thing, as I've always said before. This is just a personal thing. So we've got the camera, we've got the waterproof mounting, and we've got this. So the next thing I thought was audio. The first few videos, or the first dozen videos, I did without speech. I then invested in the Synco wireless microphone system, which you can see I'm using now. Again, a lot of people use Rode or DJI do their own. This is a very much budget system, but it works. And then I had this camera. This is a Samsung video camera. Bought this, I don't know, it must be at least 15 years ago. When our first granddaughter was born, we thought we'd capture some video and everything. As she grew up, we started to use phones, and this got left in the cupboard. But at the time, it's quite a good one. It's capable of 4K video resolution. It comes with a remote control as well. So for footage in the garage or whatever, I use that. The other thing is I've collected a collection of batteries for the Wolfang system over time. because you get 2 with each camera. Then I bought another couple with another charger. A lot of these accessories I don't use anymore. I don't use that. I don't use the remote, but they're there if you want them. The other thing you can use a lot is my phone, which I can't show you because I'm using it now for this little bit of the film. But basically, these are the cameras. I'll show you the cameras in more detail in a moment. Then we've got the plethora of mounts that you can use. So I'll go through the mounts, and then we'll go into the garage. I'll mount them on the bike to show you the different point of views you can get, and then we'll go out on the bike and do some filming and show you what each one does. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how we get on. So now I'll go through some of the cameras in a little bit more detail. It's not a review of the cameras by any means. It's a personal view, and I'm not going to go into the cameras in too much depth because there are plenty of online instructions and whatever. But we'll go through that in a moment. Right, these are the Wolfgang cameras that I use, the action cameras that I use. Basically, the advantage of these is they're a lot cheaper than, as I've said before, they're a lot cheaper than the GoPros and the DJIs, but the quality, the film quality is quite good. And the other advantage is when you buy these, when you buy each one, you get a huge selection of accessories. You get all the usual little mounts, the fork mounts, which are the same as GoPro. That one is to put on you put the camera on there, you put that on a tripod. That is a handlebar mount. That is a remote control. Press the red button. It's paired to each camera. You get one with each. Every time you buy one camera, no matter which model, you get a box full of accessories. The red one is for taking a still photograph. That starts and stops the video. You get a wrist strap so you can put it on your wrist if you want to. With that camera, I think it was, you got a charger. With each camera you get 2 batteries. You get sticky mounts where you can mount them on there, and for a helmet. That's a slightly curved one, as you can see. You get a flat one. You get little security straps in case they come adrift. You've got spare adhesive there, and you also get a lapel microphone, external microphone. So we'll put all those to one side for now. So you get a full kit of accessories with each camera. Now this is the first one I bought. This is the Wolfgang GA 100. That's the basic camera. There's the on-off button. There we go, on it goes. It comes on and you're already on video. There's the battery condition there. The other advantage of these cameras is the battery life isn't too bad. On these two here, the battery life is claimed to be 2 hours, 120 minutes. And I've got to an hour and a half and changed the battery just in case. It's the way I am. I'll come to that one in a moment. And basically, you then press that again. That starts the recording and stops it. There we are, stop. You press the front button again, and you can start. That's changed it to camera, to still camera. Press it again. You can review the films you've already taken. I need to clear those up actually, just noticed. Press it again, no file. Press it again and you've got your menu. Then press the side buttons to go through your menu. That's video resolution. Now, as you can see from that, well, you probably can't, but I tend to record at 1080p, 60 frames per second. That is the preferred for most motorcycle vloggers. That is the preferred setting. It will record, all these will record in 4K, but it does get a little bit blurry sometimes, and you can get breakup in the video. 1080 at 60 frames per second, the image quality is fine. Even on a big television, it's fine. And talking about that, if you use at the moment, I'll go out to this menu now, if I can remember how. press shutter to... At the moment it's showing with a 64 gig card. I think you don't get a card normally, but I think this one did actually come with a card in the pack. With a 64 gig card, I've got over 5.5 hours of recording time. It's illustrated there. 5.5 hours of recording time, which is plenty. So that is one of the reasons I went for the Wolfgang. Yeah, so the image quality is quite good. Turn that off. You also get that will it's that way around. That, as you can see, it hasn't got a mount at the moment, but that you've then got a mount there. So you would put, say, for instance, that one. Screw that one in there, and you've got your fork mount for all the various mounts that you would use. You also get a waterproof casing. Basically, pop that in there, close the door, which has got rubber seals on it, snap that shut. You've still got your buttons, so you can still control it, but that now is waterproof to, sorry, not at the moment. That case there, you see it's got two slits in there. That allows the sound to go in, so the external microphone will be used. If you want it to be waterproof, you change the door. With each one you get a second door which is completely sealed, which of course will make it silent because you can't hear the microphone. Once that door is fitted, that will then be waterproof down to 40 metres, I think they say. So that's the GA100. That was my first one. So I used that for some months, but I keep changing the position. Sometimes it's on my chest, sometimes it's on the bike or low down or whatever. So you've got to keep stopping and moving it around. So I thought 2 cameras would be good. So I then went to the next model up for a couple of reasons. One basic reason. This is the GA200. Again, it's 4K. I'll just switch this one on and you'll see the main difference. There we go, we're on now. The main difference is this is a touch screen. So again, you've got the video resolution, and it's quite a sensitive touch screen. And then you've got your other settings there: wide angle, medium angle, sounds on, volume, touch. So you've got a touch screen system there. But the other main thing was, let's go back to there, it's got a forward facing screen. So when I was mounting this on the handlebars, looking back, I could see, you hold that down there, you've got the front screen. So I could see it was aimed properly. It was looking at me, not at the clouds or at the floor or whatever. So that was one of the reasons I got that one. So I've now got 2 cameras. Let's just turn it all off. Again, you get another case there. You can mount that in there, and you've got the, again, this hasn't got any mountings. So you put that in that case, and you've got the fork mount in there, and you've got exactly the same. Well, it's not exactly the same because you've got a slightly different configuration. So you can see this. I'll put it in to show you. Again, unclip it, open the door, pop that in there. There we are, sealed. You can still use the buttons, the waterproof buttons are there. Again, I've got the one on with the slots in to let the sound in for the microphone. But again, you get a secondary door, you just simply clip it out. When that's on, again, it is claimed to be waterproof down to 40 metres, which I've never tried yet. So that was those 2. I got on quite well. Now, having a hobby is great when it comes to Christmas and birthdays. I had a big birthday last year, and my 2 daughters clubbed together and got me this one. This is a GA420. The main difference with this one is this is a metal body. This is a metal body camera, and this is claimed to be waterproof to 10 metres as it is there, as it stands. Again, it's got a forward, I'll just switch it on. if I can remember. There we go. There we go. Again, it's a touch screen, so you go into your menu, video resolution. Again, I use them all on the 1080 at 60 frames per second. We've got diving mode, we've got all sorts. So that is waterproof as it stands for 10 metres. So if I'm out in the rain and I haven't got it in the case, that's fine. Now with this case, slightly different to the others, you only get one door. And this hasn't got any. You slot that in there, close the door, and again you are now waterproof down to 40 metres. There you've got the fork mount there for all the accessories. And the other thing with this one is it's got the standard tripod mount in there. It's a quarter USC unified course, so that is the, I think it's the top of the range one at the moment, but again it's not that expensive. It comes for all three cameras there. I didn't buy that one, obviously it was a gift. All three cameras there come to the cost of one good GoPro, which is about, as I said before, about £300. So those are the cameras I use. So we'll go through the mounts now and see which mounts I use for whatever we use. Now we come to the various mounts that I use. You can see there's quite a few of them here. We start with the basic. It's like a mini tripod, like just a standard mini tripod you can get from most accessory shops. And that's another little mini tripod, a lot lower. This doesn't rotate. This with the mount on, with the GoPro mount on, that will rotate. So that's just another little mini tripod. We've got basically a standard selfie stick for the camera. Again, I can't show you the camera because I'm using it at the moment. This opens out into a tripod. So that's useful sometimes if you're in a cafe and you want to do a quick bit of filming to camera. This one's also got a little remote control on it, which comes off, if I can remember how. There we go. So you can operate the, I won't press it now because I'll switch you off. So that's, again, it's at the lower end of the market, if you like, but it does a job. It's functional and it does a job. Then we come to this. Now this is a GoPro item. This is the GoPro, I think it's either called the Vice or Jaws. Jaws because of that. That is a very strong crocodile clip. That is also very strong. Now I first saw this, I saw one of these, Alan Milliard was using it on one of his motorcycles. It allows you to mount this where it's universal basically. The other clever part about this is, you see that tab there, you pull that out and you can reduce. You've got the little hole there. It'll apparently, the advertising blurb says it will grip a bar or anything. I mean, you can clip it to the edge of a table, but you can clip it to a bar or whatever from, I think it's, they say 50mm, which is 2 inches, down to the size of a pencil by adjusting that. It's got a very strong flexible mount and it's got the obligatory GoPro mount on the top, which does come out. You can just squeeze the two buttons and slide it out, but I leave that on. And as you can see, I won't put the thumb screw in, but basically, there we have it. Now, I've had this mounted on the handlebars. I'll show you when we get into the garage shortly. I have used that on the handlebars. But I did find if you hit a big bump, which is fairly common these days, unfortunately, it would move. That wouldn't move so much, but that might rock. That might be purely my bike because I haven't got a lot of room on the handlebars, and it was on a bend in the bar. So maybe it wasn't as secure, and it did move a couple of times. So we've got that. That is very useful, not just on the bike. As I showed you, you can clamp it to a table, to a chair, or whatever. I've used that quite a lot. For the GoPros, I keep calling them GoPros. For the action cameras, that's what I'll start using, the action cameras. I've used it for the action cameras, I've used it for my phone, and I've used it for the Samsung video camera. So that's the, now that, I didn't pay that full price for that. That in the GoPro shop is about £50, I think, which is quite expensive. I got that second-hand on eBay, unmarked. It's still in the box, actually. I think it was £18 or something. So if you shop around, you can get some bargains. So that's the GoPro Vice. I think it's called the Jaws. So for the handlebar mount, I did buy that. I did buy that brand new, but it was about £17 or £18. This is the Telesin. A lot of people use these, basically for the handlebars. You've got the clamp there that clamps onto the bars. You've also got a small insert that you can put in there. It's in my other box. A small insert there for smaller tubes. So you can mount it on smaller frame rails if you want to. But basically, you clamp that onto the bars. Again, I'll show you this more in the garage. Then you slacken that screw there, and you can move that where you like. So, and again, it's got the basic GoPro mount on it. This is a chest mount. This is a harness. Again, I'll show you this in action a bit later. This goes on your chest and the camera goes in there for facing forward, obviously. I use this on the bike. And it works well. You've got to be careful where you position it and where you position the angle of the camera. But basically, again, I'll put a camera in there. I won't bother. Take the thumb screw out first. So that goes in there. Again, this is a copy one. It's not a genuine GoPro chest mount. There's various ones on the market, and this was about £15–20, something like that. Not hugely expensive. So there you've got the chest mount. Now, the only drawback with the chest mount is if you've got a rucksack on, you've got to remember to put this on first, then your rucksack. Sometimes the chest strap can come across and interfere with this. So what I did a while back, and I've done a separate video on this, I did fit the Motorad's chin mount on my helmet. And up to now, it's fine. Again, I won't bother with the thumb screw, but basically you put your camera in there, and you get an absolute, what I see, the camera sees, basically. And the other thing is, with the chest mount, if you're out on the bike, it's facing forwards. It's facing forwards because you're facing forwards. But if you see something interesting and you turn your head, you can see it, but the camera can't. Whereas with this, if I turn, the camera turns. So you do get a better a rider's point of view. And then we come to this. This is an old selfie stick, which I modified, which if you watch the channel regularly, you'll know I do a lot of modifying things. I basically put a mount, a GoPro style mount on there. I had to drill and tap a hole through it, and basically put my camera on there. There we go. Put the camera on there, and you put your thumb screw in, obviously, and you can use that as a handheld stick, if you like. But also, this is my drone. It extends quite a long way. So what I've done in the past, I have You go to some of these events like Ride to the Wall or Bike for Life, and there are absolutely thousands and thousands of motorcycles. And you sometimes see the drone footage on the TV news or whatever, and it's very impressive. You see all these thousands of bikes parked up. Now with this, what I do, I extend it to its full length, I hold it up as high as I can, and I slowly rotate it. And you get the same. It's a little shaky, but you basically get a view of the whole of the event. Also, depending on how far you extend it, you can see over people's heads if you're trying to view something. But you've got to guess, because obviously when you put it up in the air, you can't see the screen. But basically, it doesn't take up any room, and that just lives in my bag. Now we come to another homemade one. Again, you'll get this better when I've got it on the bike. This is basically a piece of aluminium. Now on my Bonneville, on all Bonnevilles, Hinckley Bonnevilles, there is a hole in the crankcase where the crankcase is joined on the left-hand side, and this makes use of. Nobody seems to know what that hole is for. I think it's something for tooling at the factory, but it's left there. So this fits in that hole. Again, you'll see better when we're in the garage. This is just a piece of aluminium angle, and you put that in, bolt that on. I usually bolt it on before I go out, and the camera sits on there. And I tend to aim it at the brake caliper and the forks, so you can see the forks in operation. Again, with the potholes we've got around here or everywhere. You get a different point of view. As I said before, there's nothing more boring than just watching what I watch. So different points of view. You can also turn it round and face back and watch my foot changing gear. I know that sounds stupid, but you'll see in the film at the end, it does keep changing. There's nothing people turn off. If you do, all you're seeing is hedges and telegraph poles. So that's one of my homemade ones. This is the other. This you use, I haven't painted this one. This is another piece of aluminium. Basically, pull that off there. Screw that on there. Now this is specifically for what you call a drive-by. Sometimes you mount your camera on a tripod in a lay-by, and you put the camera pointing up the road. Then you bugger off up the road and you ride past. So it's a ride-by. You ride by it, and it's quite an impressive view. And sometimes you can do it the other way around. Now with this, you can mount two cameras. I'll get that one on there. Where's one of my other cameras? There it is. So you can do, oops. So now, you've obviously put a thumb screw in there. You can you do a ride by, so you do a coming towards the camera and going away from the camera all in one shot. So you haven't got to turn around, change the camera, move the camera around, and ride away again. So that is a drive-by going and coming, if you like. So that was just a 10-minute exercise in the garage. Again, I'll just leave that in my backpack and use it as and when I need to. So now I think the thing to do is to illustrate these various mounts with the different cameras in the garage on the bike before we go out and film the whole do a film with using all the cameras in all the different positions. So that's what we'll do next. I almost forgot. Two other mounts to use are basic tripods. This one I've had for years. I'm not sure how long, but it's basically a small aluminium tripod, extending legs, pretty basic, pretty simple, mainly pretty light and compact. It's got pan and tilt. It's a very basic one. coning, I think this is called. But the main thing is it's very compact. This will fit into my backpack on the bike that I use on the bike. But being lightweight, I have noticed if I've used it outside a few times and it's been a bit windy, the camera moves a little bit. So I invested in another one. Again, this was online. It's obviously a Chinese copy of something else, but this is far more robust, and this is the one I tend to use all the time now. But as you can see, it's quite heavy, and it's bigger, and it won't fit in my backpack. Well, it will, but I won't get I won't get anything else in. It's a much smoother pan and tilt. The legs extend. Now this, when all four, there's 4 sections to this, it stands about just over 2 meters high. Plus you can extend the head as well. So you can get about 2.5 meters height with this, which sounds, I mean, I can't see to the viewfinder of the camera, but what I have used it for earlier today, I used it was next to me at its full extension, pointing downwards onto this desk so I could show you the cameras. And so it looks expensive. It's got a little carry handle in there, but I think it was 25 quid or something. Again, it's a Chinese copy, I'm afraid. It's got a little spirit level in there, so you can make sure you can get it level. So that's the other 2 supports that I use. This one I take out on the bike with me, and if I want to do a little piece to camera with the sound system, I can put that on one side. I was going to say the road, but that wouldn't make sense. One side of the country lane or the farm gate, and do a little piece to camera. So that's the other 2 supports that I use. Right, this is the wireless sound system I use. This is Synco. Again, as I said before, there's Rhodes, there's DJI, there's various ones, but this is a budget one. Basically, what you get in the kit is your receiver and transmitter. Basically, the microphone, if you like. You get a little woolly cover that goes on the top. I can fit it on. The only fault I will say, it's a bit fiddly to get on. There we go. You've got the clip on the back for clipping onto your shirt. The only thing I will say about this little furry dead cat, as they call it, is it's meant to cut down wind noise, but it's not that secure, and if there's a fair amount of wind it blows it off quite easily. But basically you switch it on. Where is it? There it is. Switch it on. You get the little blue light flashing. You switch on the receiver. There we go. And straight away, as soon as they go solid, the 2 blue lights, they're paired. In the kit you get that. You get 2 of these. One is for connecting. There we go. So there's the receiver. This is the one, I remember it by the curly one, and it's got 2 bands on there. So this is for your camera. So that end goes in there, out, that end goes in there, and you can plug that end into your camera. You do your SLR, whatever. I use it on the Samsung. The other lead is for your phone. Now this has got 3 bands on. This is a TRRS jack plug, so that's got 3 bands on. That's for mobile phones. So again, you just plug that in there, in the out port, and into your phone, and you've got the wireless system on your phone for recording. You've got gain buttons. You've also got a plug there. Oh, that's for charging. You get a charging lead. So you've got the USB on that end, and you've got two outlets there, one for each, one for the receiver, one for the transmitter. That's the standard USB. You've got a reset there. I've never had to reset them. They come out of the box and they paired up completely, but you get the little pin, the normal little pin to reset. You get the volume and you can plug in earphones there to so you can hear exactly what's coming through the system. On this one you get a small lapel microphone which you plug in that one. So if you don't want that, you clip that on your pocket or put it in your pocket even, and you have a smaller microphone on your lapel. But that's wired from here obviously. Now these, I think the whole lot was, I don't know, on eBay, it was new, 30 quid, 35, 40 quid maybe. And I've had no problems whatsoever with it. It comes in this little case, so that goes everywhere with me. As I say, I've had no trouble whatsoever with that. There's a little clip to clip it onto your camera. You can use that on a hot shoe apparently. It slides into the hot shoe on an SLR camera, digital SLR camera obviously. But basically that's my sound system, and I find it very useful. This is the Synco GA1A. You can get a 2A. So basically you get two transmitters with that one. You can get one with this, but you can add them with two. So if you're doing an interview, each person can have the microphone and you can perform an interview. But I don't do interviews, so that is suitable for me. Right, there's been a very slight change of plan. At the beginning of the video I said I was going to come out into the garage and go through mounting the various mounts on different positions on the machine, so you get an idea of what we have to do before I go out filming. But I did that, but it was going to make this video well over 50 minutes, 55 minutes, so that's no good to anybody, especially you. So what I've decided to do is go straight out on the bike. So we've got the helmet here, can put the helmet on, get out and do some filming. It will be very obvious which mounts are being used for each piece of footage, and I'll put a little picture up and the explanation will be there, so you're not going to miss out on anything. So we'll get out there now and get it done. Right, here we've got the chest mount. As you can see, it's a bit lower. You can see the instruments, more or less see the handlebars, and still get a pretty good view forwards. It does create a fair bit of wind noise though on this mount. It's even worse with the camera in the case. I think it amplifies the wind noise. Now here we have the Motorad's chin mount on the helmet. As you can see, it's a slightly higher view. You don't get such a good view of the instruments, but it's neither here nor there really. Still a fair bit of wind noise, but as you can see, occasionally when I turn, the camera view turns as well, so you get my point of view, exactly what I see, the camera sees. We are with the Telesin mount on the bars. Looking back, this has got the GA420 camera on it. Right, we can see where we've been now. This is the Wolfgang mount. It's mounted on the rack looking backwards, again just to do something a little bit different, especially if you've got a group of riders with you. Right, here we've got a view from the engine mount low down. You can see the forks working on this. We've got a few speed bumps coming up here, so again it just makes you wouldn't have this on all the time, but it just makes a little change every now and then from the straightforward forward view. Here we have the Telesin mount on the rear subframe with the GA100 camera on it, and you've got the shock absorber in view, so just another point of view. Here's a couple of ride-by shots made with the two cameras fitted on one tripod with that little bracket I made. This is the sort of thing that takes about half an hour to film, and then you end up with about 15, 20, 30 seconds of footage at the end. Right, so that's a bit of the filming of the various contraptions where they're meant to be. So that'll be the end of the video now. Hope you enjoyed it. I must remind you, if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, it's completely free of charge. I must stress that I have bigged up Wolfhang cameras, and I'm not sponsored by them. I don't receive any support whatsoever. Oh, and just out of interest, I don't receive any support from Cadbury's either. I just happen to live nearby. So that's about it for now. Oh, one other thing, yeah. I say I do this on a budget, best budget I can. The big thing, obviously, is the editing. Now, I use Clipchamp, which comes free of charge with Microsoft Windows. I've got Windows 11, I think, and it's free of charge on there. You can do virtually everything, well, certainly I can, everything I need to do on Clipchamp for what I want to do. I may upgrade to Clipchamp Premium if I feel it's necessary, but I can't see it, to be honest. And obviously there's other editing suites out there that you can either buy or download for free. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.